Today we're going to talk about volume of prisms. Prisms, you will remember, are three-dimensional shapes that have two congruent bases and then two pairs of rectangles as sides of the prism. Okay? In this case, this is a rectangular prism, so all of the sides are going to be rectangles, but they could also be triangles, they could be circles, in which case we also could call it a cylinder. Volume, you'll remember from our class discussion, is the amount of space an object takes up or its capacity. And one way we could illustrate volume is simply by trying to fill an object up. So if we tried to take something like this, like looks like an aquarium, and we filled it up with water, we would start by filling up the very base of it first. And then as we kept pouring more and more water in, the water level would keep rising and rising and rising and rising, rising some more and rising some more. And eventually it would fill the whole thing up all the way to the top. So we can see that we start with the base, and then when we fill it up, the volume is going to be the base times the height of the prism. And in fact, the formula for volume is simply base times height. So if we want to find the volume, well, all we really need to know is the base, by which I mean the area of the base, and the height of the prism. All right? Here are some notes you're going to need for on page 126 of your interactive notebook on finding the volume of a prism using the formula base times height. The first thing you want to do, shade in the base. The second, find the appropriate formula for finding the area of that shape. It could be a rectangle, could be a triangle, could be a circle. Label the necessary dimensions, make a chart, use the formula, and then multiply it by the height of the prism. Finally, you have to write your answer in cubic units. Stop the video now. Make sure these notes are on page 126. Let's take this as an example. This is a rectangular prism. Okay? The basic formula, of course, is volume equals base times height. What is the base here? Well, the base is simply a rectangle. So first thing we need to do is find the area of that rectangle. And the area for the formula of a rectangle is length times width. We'll start by labeling the necessary dimensions. Length is usually the longer side, so we're going to label that one L. Width is the wider side of the base, okay, not the longest side, so that one's going to be W. And height is how far you have between the two bases, okay? In that case, this is going to be H. So we've labeled the necessary dimensions. We can make a chart of them so that we make sure we get it right. Then we use the formula to find the area. Okay? Base is 5 times 8, so base is going to be 40. In this case, of course, 40 square feet. Then we multiply that answer by the height, 2, to get our volume, 80 cubic feet. Our basic formula is multiplying the area of the base times the height of the prism. And sometimes we may see that written out in another form like this. Volume equals length times width times height for a rectangular prism. But the basic formula is always to find the area of the base and then multiply it by the height. In this case, the base is going to be a triangle, and we're going to have to use the formula for a triangle and then multiply it by 7. In this case, the base is a circle. Now, normally the base is the bottom of the figure where it sits on, but here you have to go primarily with the idea that the base is the two sets of faces that are opposite and congruent. And this is simply one big long rectangle, as you'll see from the net that we had. So the formula for this one is base times height, or pi r squared, which is a circle, times the height. Be careful, this is the diameter. The base you'll have to find is 4 kilometers. The radius you'll have to find to use the base is 4 kilometers.